I'm Staff Sergeant Rountree. Joined the Army pretty early. Actually joined when I was a junior in high school. I had to wait till I graduated to leave off to boot camp. Wanted to go see the world. Came down, on my station duties, and they said, "You're going to Florida, Texas." Awesome. Where's that? Well, it's about 2 hours from where you were born and raised. I'm like, oh, great, good job. So went in the infantry, 11 Bravo. Can't beat it. You get paid to break stuff mostly, at least at that time. Did a couple of tours. First tour to Iraq was pretty rough. We were deployed to Sadr City, just the northeast portion of Baghdad, Iraq. Was there from 2004 to 2006. Then came back home for a little bit, redeployed 2006, 2008. That one was a little bit rougher. November 29th, the vehicle that I was in got hit pretty big with the IED, killed my gunner, wounded my driver and myself. Got flown out to the combat sport hospital. Stayed there for a few days and then had the option of redeploying back or staying in country. And I fought like hell to stay in country. And I don't know. Wasn't worried about the fighting. I was more or less worried if my wife understood that. And then did my job there and came home, thankfully. And here I am.
All right. It is great being here with you today. I feel like we're brothers, or at least cousins. Brothers from another mother. We're both at Fort Hood. We're both in, you were in 2-5 Cav, I was in 1-5 Cav. We both got to see the scenery of Iraq. And when I ask you from a medical perspective, when we see patients who are injured like you, we can save a lot of lives because of soldiers we've never met. In Valley Forge, when that soldier was shot, he died from an amputation perhaps of his arm. There were no hospitals, which we came up with in the Civil War. There were no blood transfusions, which was World War I. There was no penicillin, which is World War II. There was no air evacuation back then, Korean and Vietnam wars. So you are the hallmark of this set of wars, traumatic brain injury from your IED incident. What do you think our children's children will learn from what you've gone through? What do you think?
And first off, I hope that there's a solution, or there's a valuable thing that we learned from the previous wars. Just like you said, we took something, we learned something very valuable, and we not only learned it, we applied it, to the future battles. Unfortunately, people have been battling since biblical days, and I don't see that changing. Definitely not anytime soon. I'm just hoping that we as a society, the medical field, they figure something out. What's going on with the TBIs?
This happened to you 10 years ago.
It did.
What have you learned having TBI in these 10 years?
I learned it sucks.
Yeah.
It does.
How does it suck for you?
It's hard. It's nothing that you can see. It's not a broken leg. It doesn't leave physical scars. You get to a point where something just is debilitating and you can't function. And then
sometimes dogs help our veterans too.
It is. I'm gonna take her to be my service dog.
Service dog. Shout out to the service dogs.
That's it.
All right.
I think the hardest thing about traumatic brain injuries is people want to see something, and you can't see this one.
Right.
And you don't know when it's going to strike. You don't know when it's going to come back up, or how it's going to affect your life or your family.
So what symptoms are you having? Like what? How has it struck?
It's a little bit different for me sometimes. Sometimes I'll just get, the normal headache, or I'll get some ringing in my ears, or I'll get a little dizzy or anything. But I mean, I can push through all that. I mean, I'm a fighter. That's what we've been trained to do. That's what's instilled us. But every now and then, there's that one migraine, and you can't do anything about it. It's you have to completely shut down, and I mean, it could take you out, for 6, 7, 8, 12 hours, and you can't do anything. You can't function. It's, for me, through the 10 years, I've learned, the only thing that makes it better is separating yourself, taking some basic over-the-counter meds, and just turn out the lights, cold room, and doing your best to go to sleep, and then hopefully it's gone when you wake up. And there's been a couple of times it was still there when I woke up, and then it's one of those, all right, well, you want to sit here, or you want to go to the hospital? And sometimes when you go to the hospital, they don't believe you, and that's hard. They want to see something, whether it's on some sort of, imaging, from MRI, CAT scan, or something, and it's not there. And it's not that I don't think that they don't believe me. It's just, these days, we're used to seeing something.
Right,
And
right.
it's just not there.
What kind of work do you do? How has it affected your work?
I'm in law enforcement. I've been pretty fortunate enough that, I haven't had any headaches or anything like that. We work a good enough shift, and I do my best to take care of myself, and try not to do things that kind of precurse these migraines. Believe it or not, I'm more calm and I'm more comfortable in a stressful environment. Whether I'm responding to a domestic call or anything, that's where I feel perfect. That's my calm. It's when things are died down and I'm trying to relax, whether I'm bass fishing or something. That's usually when they come on.
So keeping busy keeps you distracted
Keeping
away.
busy, and I don't know if it's the high stress environment that my body's been came to that that's its new resting level.
Right.
Just I spent almost 2.5, 3 years in Iraq, so that became normal.
So for our listeners out there, many of them, so your wife's name is Lee, and you have 2 kids. So there are other spouses out there listening, kids listening. You basically have the hallmark injury of this war. Bomb goes off, the air pressure blast causes a brain injury. And for anyone listening out there, imagine having a headache, ears ringing, and dizziness every day for years and for the rest of your life. That's miserable. And then on top of that, insomnia, hearing loss, vision loss, if it's severe enough, seizures, or even being paralyzed like you were for some time, luckily temporarily.
Thankfully.
What can people like that do to help you?
The big thing is, for me, I've been blessed would be an understatement, but I don't talk about this ever, so
Yeah.
It's a little hard.
Yeah. But this is real. I mean, there's, 22 veterans a day committing suicide.
It is, and it's the support system that I have.
Yeah.
Is none other. It's been. I just wish that every veteran, when they come home, whether it's PTSD, missing a limb or something, they got to have a support structure.
Right.
If they don't, then they don't really have a chance.
Right.
And I think that's where we're getting our high suicide rate. A lot of people join the military because they don't have family, or the family that they have, wasn't really working for them in the first place. And then they go through these events, and when you're really needing or required to have, a better family structure, support structure than ever before, they don't have it, then it's supposed to be society that takes care of them. And that's just not happening. And I think that's where we're getting them.
I think this is the key message of this interview is PTSD. There is no D, it's not a disorder. This is, you go through a traumatic brain injury, you're isolated, and then your military family is maybe no longer your family because your deployment's over, you're gone, and that support system's gone. So for people listening out there, it's providing that support, however it is. Just a thank you, anything.
I tell you what, when I got invited to come out here to show support, they're like, hey, you want to go hunt? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm from Texas. I'm not going to turn down a free hunt. But it turned out to be so much more, and it was the little things. We're getting the police escort coming through town, and, that's great, and I appreciate them for that. But I was looking at the people stopped at the stop sign, stopped at the red light. They're just trying to get home from work, and here we are blocking their path, giving us the primary, or the priority, movement, and they weren't mad. A lot of them got out, saluted, put their hands over their heart. You don't see that anymore these days. In West Texas, it's very much a well and live.
Yeah, and it'd be great if the whole nation could do this, because you guys are defending the whole nation, and we go out there and deploy for the whole nation.
If the entire nation had the same mindset that West Texas has, this would be phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Medias would probably be out of a job, or reporting on the things that they need to be reporting on.
Yeah. Well, your message is very important. Thanks for sharing it.
And the battle continues.